Hi, how are you? If you're new here, welcome. I'm Delilah. Nice to meet you. I'm currently down 230 pounds. 120 of those pounds was lost on my own prior to a 1-year stall where I then got some medical diagnoses, which allowed me to begin the Homeboy Mounjaro. Since starting my Homeboy Mounjaro, I am now an additional 111 pounds down. I am about 130 pounds away from my goal. If any of that sounds interesting to you, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel and join the family. And I would just love to get the chance to get to know you better. All right, so real talk, the reason why you're here. After losing 230 pounds, my back has not been okay. Even prior to that, I have had back issues since I was young. I would say somewhere around 16, 17 is when it first started, where I would throw my back out and I couldn't walk. I would be immobile for days to a week or more sometimes. I don't think it really ever lasts. I don't recall it ever going past 10 days with me being unable to move without assistance from somebody else or the wall or a chair or something to help me get up and down. After losing 230 pounds, going through a total hysterectomy, living with chronic back issues like scoliosis of the lower spine, some herniated and bulging discs, plus an annular fissure, which means that there is a tear, the outer layer of one of my discs, and having, bear with me, ankylosing spondylitis. Ankylosing spondylitis, I think is what it's called. Ankylosing spondylitis. It's basically an inflammatory arthritis that affects the spine mostly. It is most known to affect the spine. Now, it causes stiffness, pain, and it can lead to fusing of your discs. So because of all of these things, taking care of my back has become a full-time job. Today, I want to share with you some of the things that I've been doing to support my spine health and manage pain while still trying to live as normal a life as I can. So first things first, so yes, there has been some daily life adjustments on top of seeing my primary care physician for the chronic back issues. I eventually ended up having to go see a orthopedic surgeon who did some MRIs and some x-rays on my spine to see what was going on. That's when we discovered the tear in my spine. Well, it's a tear in the outer layer of my disc, and that, although it is not huge, imagine a paper cut, okay? You know when you get a paper cut, you know the paper cut that's between your fingers, okay? So that paper cut, you know how it's little, but it hurts like a mofo. It's one of the most painful things you've ever gone through, just like stubbing your toe hurts worse than breaking your arm. Well, it's very similar. So because it's in the middle between your fingers or your thumb or what have you, it constantly is opening back up because you have to move your hands, right? Every time you do that, it is reigniting the trauma to that paper cut. If you accidentally squeeze a lemon and get some juice in there, you're going to cry like a baby. It's very similar. It may be a small tear, but it has caused a lot of inflammation in my spine, which pushes against my nerve, which is what's causing a lot of the pain that I have. So one of the biggest changes that I've made is adding lumbar support to my gaming desk chair. Now, I've told you guys this before and I've showed it to you, but I'm going to show it to you again. In the past, I've used what's known as the original McKinsey roll. I will show it to you right here. It is very basic design. It is basically just a pillow about this big. And it's just a cylinder, right? And you put that against your chair so that it supports your spine. Now, I have had success with that up until recently. It stopped helping the way that it could. Instead, sometimes it would cause pain. So I switched to a lumbar support that had curvature to it. In doing this, I will put a link for this in the description of the video. But in doing this, do you see how it has that curve? Don't ask me how, because I have no idea the science behind it, but this particular curvature has done leaps and bounds for my back pain. It has helped support my spine in a way that nothing else has done. Now, please do not misunderstand me. You do not need to spend any money in order to get some relief if you are dealing with similar issues. What would happen to me is I would be stuck in a bent position in a way, like it would be excruciatingly painful to try to straighten up or to try to bend. I would be stuck either standing or bending, and it was incredibly painful to get out of that position. Now, this has allowed me to, like, if I get up out of my seat, I can straighten my spine. But if in the past I couldn't do that, I would be stuck, and it would take a tremendous amount of effort in order to unstuck myself and a lot of pain. So one of the things that I would do, I would just use regular, like acetaminophen or ibuprofen or Aleve and hope for the best, right? And it worked for a few years, but the older I've gotten, the worse it's gotten. Now with the pandiculitis, spondylitis, that one, we're just going to call it AS. So after finding out that I have this AS in my spine, I've come to the realization and the understanding that it tends to progress as you age. The older I get, the more impacted my spine is going to be. That's just the stage that we're at right now. So I had to move to prescription medications instead of just over the counters. But one thing that I used to do in my chair, and if for whatever reason I am somewhere and I don't have access to this, I use it on this desk chair because I work from home and I work sitting down for 8 hours, right? So I never remove this lumbar support from my chair. But I did buy another one for the car. So I do use it in the car and I do use it in here. Sometimes I have really bad ADHD. If I put something down somewhere, I'm going to lose it. If I move it out of its regular spot, I'm going to lose it. So instead of losing this pillow, I just leave it attached. So what I'll do when I sit down is I'll just grab a towel and then I fold it up and then I will roll it into a cylinder similar to the original Mackenzie roll. And then I will put this behind my back, and it also gives me support to allow me to not get that like super stiffness. But this is too thick if I want to lay down with it. I do have to do it a different way if I want to lay down. If you want to lay down with this, okay, so what I've done here is I've folded my towel in half, right? Hamburger length and not hot dog length. But if I need to, and then hamburger length, not hot dog length, okay? And then fold it in half again. So I've put it into quarters, but we have it long, right? It's still long, but it's hamburger size instead of hot dog size. And then I roll it up, right? That's the way I do it for sitting down. If I want to lay down, what I'm going to do is hot dog length instead of hamburger length. And then I'll roll it up and then it'll have a long hot dog cylinder. Because this makes it less thick. So when you lie on top of it, it's not as painful. Because if you use the more bulky version, when you lie down, it hurts more. But when you do it this way, it's less pressure and it feels way better. Now, another thing that I did recently was I purchased one to lie down. It has the same similar shape of the curvature of my seat one, except it's wider. Okay. This is the one to lie down, and this is the one to sit down on my seat, right? You see how much wider or longer it is? If I can find something like this, but for my bed and a little bit more flatter, that's what I want, which is what I did. I found this. This helps so much when I sleep, so that I don't know if you have back pain, when you lie down flat on your back, when you wake up, does your back hurt? Does it feel like you just lose any and all? So it's not laying down flat like that. Instead, you feel like your back goes like this, right? Oh, that pain is insane. This helps to keep your spine from doing that. And it makes you feel a lot better. Well, it makes me feel a lot better. I've only been using it, I've had it for about a week now. And so I've been using it for about a week, and it really, really, really has helped me. This really helps to, when I lay down, I have that pink pillow under my spine, and then I have a regular pillow under my thighs and my knees to help keep my legs lifted a bit, right? Like just a little bit of elevation in my legs, so that when I am sleeping, it helps to relieve some of the compression of the day that has happened to my spine. It helps to alleviate some of that. So it allows me to sleep better. And then when I wake up, I'm in far less pain. So I've also implemented a mandatory movement and walking regimen throughout the day, no matter how much pain I'm in. Now, I prefer at least 1 hour at a time a day, every single day, no matter what, but that's not always plausible. When you have back pain, there are going to be days where it's just far worse than other days. And that's what I've been experiencing lately. So every once in a while, I can't, there's no way I could walk for a whole hour. So what I end up doing is 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 20 minutes here, however I can. Even if it just means that I have to walk around my couch for a few minutes, I will do that. I will do that as often as I need to do to make at least 1 entire hour every single day. Now, I do not have a maximum, but I do have a minimum. I have to make that 1 hour every single day. And after that 1 hour, I stop counting. I don't care anything past that. 1 hour is the minimum. Anything above that is just cherry on top. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but it really, really just adds up, and it has helped tremendously. The movement just helps my joints from stiffening up, especially with the AS in my spine. We are doing everything we possibly can to keep it from fusing. That is the goal. The goal is no fusion of the spine. Now, I've also implemented stretching and core strengthening. All of this has been done with the assistance of my primary care physician and or the orthopedic surgeon and physical therapists. I have not come up with this routine on my own. But one thing we did realize was, after I had been going to physical therapy for a while, I had one particular person that was my physical therapist, and then he was gone for like a week. So I was seeing a different person. And while I was seeing this other person, I was explaining to him how I've been having this particular issue, right? I don't remember what the issue was. Whatever the issue was, I was explaining it to him. And I remember. It was bending. It was bending over because I was just a few months out from my hysterectomy. And I told him, ever since I've had my hysterectomy, I've been afraid to see what kind of movements I could really do, because I've still been experiencing these like sudden, like lightning shock feelings within my abdomen. And sometimes when I bend or like pick something up off the ground, it feels like something's tearing. They said it's normal, that it's just a normal reaction of the nerves that are reconnecting together and all of this stuff. But because I told him that, he said, "Oh, you no longer have a uterus." Because he said that, and we started going through some exercises, he started teaching me some extra exercises, like including Kegels into my regular routine. Well, I'm also doing the core, the abdomen core exercises. It made me come home and start researching. I have since realized that when you have a uterus and your fallopian tubes and your ovaries all intact, they help your spine muscles engage properly, right? Like they help your core and your spine talk to each other, right? It's the middleman. Since removing it, my connection between my abdomens and my spine is now disconnected. And I need to help retrain them to speak to one another again without the middleman. So I now have different core exercises that I need to do in order to get them to strengthen their communication with one another. So it does explain a lot why my back suddenly flared up after my hysterectomy happened. Because prior to that, yes, I was still having back pain, but nothing like I suddenly started experiencing afterwards. It was like night and day. Like suddenly just something happened and I couldn't explain it. It was like I had an injury of some sort, but there was no injury that I know of. Turns out there was. It was a removal of the middleman. Go figure. So since doing that, it has been a world of difference in order to have the two muscles begin to speak to one another again. And I do these, they have me doing them at least 3 times every single day, without fail. I do them while I'm lying down. I do them before I get out of my bed. I do them before I go to sleep. I do them every chance that I get. If while I'm working, there are a couple that I can do while I sit, but for the most part, everything needs to be done lying down. So I try to do it right before I also start work. So I'm at least getting in my 3 times. And then my days off, I will try to get in at least 4 or 5 times because they want me to do it as often as I possibly can, but no less than 3 times every single day. Just remember that having a stronger core helps to support your spine and helps relieve some of the pressure on herniated or bulging discs. For me, it's not about doing anything extreme, at least not right now. I'm just simply not allowed to until the tear has completely healed, because we can't risk re-injuring it or making it bigger. Because if it gets bigger, we got problems. But at the size that it is right now, it's just painful. But for me, it's about consistency, low impact movements, and stability. These are the everyday little things that I do in order to help my spine. But there's one more big thing that I've done. One more lifestyle choice that I've decided to do is completely remove alcohol. Now, I know this is a touchy subject, but it's just my story, okay? This is what has helped me, and this is what I'm going to share with you. In the past, I was a very heavy drinker. Not because I was addicted to it, not because I'm an alcoholic, but because I could. I mean, it's that simple. I had no life. I had no kids. I just worked all the time. I worked 6 days, sometimes 7 days a week, multiple full-time jobs at a time. Sometimes I just wanted to escape. I wanted to escape life. I wanted to escape reality. Wanted to escape feelings, emotions, whatever. But I didn't want to do it with food, which is what I would have normally done. So I turned to alcohol. I've been drinking since I was very young, and it's just what I did, right? It was easily accessible. It was there. Why not? And I would drink to the point of numbness. But if I did that today, I could decide tomorrow when I woke up that I wasn't going to drink again for years. And I mean it when I tell you. I went years without drinking just because I didn't want to. And then suddenly one day I'd be like, yeah, why not? And then I would just start drinking again. And then I would drink for a while, and then I'd be like, nah, I don't want to no more. So I've always known that alcohol is not a real true issue for me, and it is going to be for some people, but it just isn't for me. I, fun fact, cannot handle beer at all. If I have 1 or 2 drinks of just like a regular old like beer, that's not like, I can handle craft beers far better, and I can handle sour beers far better, but a regular beer, There is something in it, and I don't know if it's like a byproduct of the fermentation process that happens with regular beer, but I get sick. Like I get sick to my stomach. I get bloated. I have nausea. I suddenly feel like I have the flu and I turn really red. And I don't know if it's triggering rosacea. I don't really know. But alcohol doesn't do that to me at all. At all. Literally can drink an entire bottle of alcohol and never even think twice about it, right? Like I have no pain. I don't get hangovers. I don't, nothing. But with beer, I feel instantly hungover. That's the description people tell me of what it feels like to be hungover. That's how I feel. I feel terrible. And it's not even with a whole beer. It's not even with half a beer. It is literally with just a drink or two of beer does it to me. I've always been like that, which is why I choose to abstain from it. And I just drink liquor. I just like liquor far better for that reason. When I did drink, I drank in excess, as I do everything else, simply because I could. I eat in excess. I drink in excess. I shop in excess. I spend money in excess. I do everything in excess because I can. It's really, truly just that simple. However, recently I've learned a few things. There are some studies that show that alcohol can actually increase the progression of spondylitis and speed up spinal damage. And on top of that, alcohol ages you badly. And for those of you that don't know, I'm doing everything that I can to age like fine wine instead of rotten milk. And if that means stop drinking alcohol, why not? I'm gonna do that. So I have. I maybe have on average now one drink every couple of months. And I don't miss it. I don't care for it. And this is even before starting Mounjaro. Like, I just don't care for alcohol. I'll get in my moods where I want some and I will drink it. And then I won't want some and then I won't drink it. Like, that's just the way that I've always been. Way before Mounjaro. And now that I have this issue with my spine and I am actively working on improving my well aging. I'm working very hard on improving well aging. I do not want to age faster than I need to. Hence why I've chosen to stop drinking. And it's no big deal. And nobody even cares. I mean, you guys know I don't have any friends or family here outside of David. So just me and David. And David's like, okay. He already knows I don't want to have a drink. He'll ask me, hey, you want to have a drink? And I'm like, no. And he's like, okay. And there are days where he's like, hey, you want to have a drink? And I was like, sure, why not? But I really don't. I don't crave it. I don't want it. I never really craved it though. But I don't want it. I don't think about it. I don't ever say, hey, you want to go to a bar? I just don't care. And now that I know these things and now that I understand just how much worse it can make my spine, I have chosen just to not. What for? I can numb my brain with other things like mindless reality TV, which I don't really watch TV, but I could if I wanted to. So those are the everyday things that I am doing to help protect my integrity of my spine. These changes haven't fixed my back. I do still live with pain every day, but it's not excruciating anymore. I can do things now where before it was really difficult to do everyday things. Like sit in a chair for a long time. Or the only thing that I really wanted to do was lay down to relieve the pressure on my back. And I have since learned that it is because it relieves the compression of your spine, which helps to relieve the pain. I couldn't stand for a very long time. Even just washing my dishes, like for like a half an hour, would have me in tears. I couldn't sit down for longer than about an hour and a half before my spine would just be crying out in pain. But I can lay down. And even that for a while was beginning to really hurt. And I didn't know that I was wanting to lie down because it was relieving the pressure. It was relieving the compression on my spine. I didn't know that. How would I have known that? But since I've learned that whenever I start feeling like these sudden urges of pain coming or these sudden inklings of pain, I then go lie down and throw my feet up, because the elevation of putting up your legs helps to also relieve the compression in your spine. But these little changes have given me more control, and I have more good days. If you're dealing with back issues, big or small, or even rethinking some lifestyle decisions like cutting out alcohol, I hope some of these strategies help you too. Just remember, it's all about finding balance on what works for your body, because it may work for mine, but it might not work for yours. So let me know in the comments. So I'd love to hear all about how you deal with your back pain if you have back pain. If you have back pain, is it just regular old back pain, which really, is there a such thing as regular old back pain? Or is it like arthritic back pain? Is it injury to your spine? Is it like, what is it? And what do you do to manage it? I would love to hear all about it in the comments. Let's go ahead and throw a little walking person in the comments down below. Let me know you've made it this far. It's just something fun we like to do around here. Also, I'd love to hear all about how your week is going, good, bad, ugly. Just know that I want to be there to support you the way that you support me. The best way that I can do that is by hearing your story, is by hearing you out. I hope you guys have an amazing day. I'm going to give you your digital hugs. And I'd love to hear what you do to help your spine get some relief. And I will see you soon. Bye.